Hello, very warm welcome to Norton Park here in Edinburgh, which is where PASDA's offices are based. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kath Purdy. I work for PASDA as the Carer Communication Officer, and I also have an adult son at home who is on the autistic spectrum and was diagnosed when he was an adult. And I think that's quite a good place to start this presentation because many autistic individuals don't receive a diagnosis until they're adults. And this new information can affect them in a myriad of ways. It can be overwhelming for some. For others, it brings a kind of relief as to they have answers as to why they think and act differently from people who are not on the autistic spectrum. For their families, it can be difficult to know where to turn for support, as there is very little, if any, post-diagnostic support to help families cope with their daily lives. At PASDA, we recognise these difficulties. Families want to be able to live meaningful and fulfilling lives, and we want to be able to support them by raising awareness of the challenges of supporting family members with autism. We want to engage with public bodies and to influence policy and legislation in order to make life better for families everywhere. So the PASDA story goes back to late 1990s, about 20 years ago, about when a group of parents with an autistic son or daughter came together to try and figure out a way to help their family member transitioning to life as an adult. They soon realised that there was very little practical support both for themselves as carers and their adult children. Over a short period of time, we developed a constitution, we elected a convener and a couple of secretaries, and at that time we had about 30 members. Over the next few years, we lobbied the Scottish Executive, now the Scottish Government, and money was awarded for a one-stop shop, a place to find advice and support for autistic individuals in Edinburgh and the Lothians. And this became known as Number 6. And it was where our first employee was based around about 2010. We continued to grow and employed more staff. And at Number 6's venue in Edinburgh, we ran information meters and with guest speakers, and we organised social events for our members. And in 2013, we moved to our present home here at Norton Park. Our charity continued to grow and we developed regional support groups for our carers in East, West and Mid Lothian. We also had social groups like singing groups, walking group and our very popular coughing mornings, which gave our carers a chance to come together with other individuals to share experiences. We made this video to show you what the coffee mornings means to our carers. Have a look at this.
My favourite kind of drink, coffee. Yeah, I'm a coffee drinker. In fact, I'm a coffee addict probably.
It varies. If I know I'm going to have coffee later on, I will probably have tea.
I take it with milk, no sugar.
Coffees. I suppose it started to make sense when we started to make contact with PASDA and the people within PASDA and realised then that there are lots of other people out there who are going along similar experiences.
Basically, it all came about because of our son and in our search for, what support is out there and who can we connect him with.
Yeah, when I first came, it was the first meeting, it was almost like somebody giving a big hug. It just felt like everybody was really welcoming.
And I can see when people first come to us, they find it quite difficult talking. And then they are genuinely very surprised by the openness and easiness with which we can talk about very personal things. And it's quite gratifying to actually see that happening.
Well, for many parents, it's a short escape. And that, I mean, that's not overstating it. It can be, you know, just getting away for a couple of hours to be able to talk to other people. I mean, sometimes we don't talk a lot about autism. We can talk about other things, you know.
We always seem to laugh at something.
No, and we do have a lot of fun. I mean, we've had some really good nights out with PASDA. We've had some really, really useful workshops.
The wonderful thing about PASDA is realising that you're not alone. And even though we share stories and we can't solve them, and there aren't necessarily easy answers, just being able to share them with people who understand is extraordinarily powerful. So I think the PASDA mornings are very valuable and very needed, because for a lot of carers, that's the only place they have to really say how it is.
PASDA helps us on many fronts, really. But I think the main thing for all of us who are involved with it is the sense of camaraderie, the sense of, you know, the friends that we make. And you know, you can pick up the phone.
So if somebody asked me, you know, what would you advise people to do, you know, if they've just had a new diagnosis or something? Well, maybe I would say, first of all, come along to one of the PASDA meetings. They're one of the most useful meetings you could ever attend, because you're going to come across a whole group of people who have a wealth of understanding and a lifetime's experience of dealing with people with autism. So it's a great start.
Too often, unpaid family carers remain invisible and their rights ignored. Scan the internet and you'll find swathes of documents, charters, legislations and acts that are supposed to help carers in their demanding role, but little has changed. Even the Human Rights Act has not been of value to carers. How do we know? Because our members tell us this. We often receive correspondence from them to highlight the barriers and the bureaucracy that can impede them from supporting their family members. We are often told, as carers, we have a right to a life of our own. For some families, this is impossible, as there is so much organising that needs to be done for a family member. Making appointments, coordinating support agencies, giving emotional support, dealing with finances, trying to spot the first signs of anxiety and depression. And the list goes on. It's no wonder that many carers are exhausted and feel physically drained, mentally and emotionally. As one carer said to me, "You can never plan for the day you won't be needed." Many carers continue to care for their family members when going through extreme mental health problems themselves. They face daily risks to their health, which, if properly addressed by having appropriate services, could be dealt with before they escalate. I have lost track of the amount of times that carers have said to me, "What would happen to my son or daughter if I couldn't care for them? If I died tomorrow, who would fill my shoes?" There is evidence to show that carers are often marginalised and excluded. Life could be so different if it was acknowledged that carers have a wealth of knowledge and are experts by experience. We need to be listened to, as we know our family members better than anyone else. Unpaid carers don't really have the same rights as paid carers. They don't have pensions or holidays and are often working 24/7. We may not know everything or have the right terminology, but we save the public purse millions by caring for our loved ones. So our message to the government, to local authorities and health boards and anyone else who comes into contact with carers of autistic adults is three things. One, engage with carers. We are experts by experience, and our voices must be heard if we're going to build a better society for our families. Number two, to change attitudes to delivery of support. Far too many professionals do not understand how to communicate effectively with autistic adults and their families. And thirdly, provide post-diagnostic support. Every autistic individual needs a point of contact to someone that they trust. In conclusion, I would like to say thank you to Richard Ibbotson and the team at Autism Network Scotland for giving PASDA this opportunity to talk to you today about our charity and the work we do. Many of our families have told me that PASDA is an absolute lifesaver to them. And I often think how wonderful it would be if we had lots of PASDA charities dotted all over Scotland. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with us if you would like to know more, either via our website at www.pasda.org.uk or check out our presence on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for listening. Take care and stay safe.